think we're good there, Denise. Seems to have, right?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening. Could I ask everybody to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation,
under God,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. We have about 180 participants this evening, so welcome to each of you to the October Board of Education meeting. I'd like to begin by just making a few brief comments and then we'll get to the agenda. During the last month or more, there has been a great deal of commentary concerning my comments at the August Board of Education meeting. I am fully aware of my obligation as your Board of Education president, and anybody who has ever met me and knows me understands that I take that very, very seriously. Sadly, my passion and feelings that evening created a distraction for the community which I serve, and for that, I apologize. There was a significant issue of homelessness here on Long Island, and my passion overshadowed that. More importantly, my passion and our differences overshadowed the importance of this school year to all of us. It took away from what should have been an acknowledgement of our incredible administration who spent countless hours preparing for this school year. It distracted from the heroic job our building principals, our teachers, and our staff have done every single day since the first day of school and before to teach our children in a safe environment, and the sacrifices they made and make every day should never be overshadowed by any one person's passion. It has caused us to ignore our parent community and the amazing job that each of you have done, many of who have had to change your job hours, make adjustments to be able to have your child attend school either full-time on a hybrid model or virtually. And finally, my passion and our differences have taken away the spotlight from our most important resource here in Jericho, our children. Your kids have been a shining light since opening day, attending school with masks on, learning virtually, unable to do recess with their friends, unable to walk out of the class unless they're together in a group. The adjustments that they have made from our kindergartners to our high schoolers have been nothing short of miraculous. I am incredibly, incredibly sad that my passion and our differences took the spotlight off of them. We are one community. Now, more than ever, we must come together in unity as this school year is just at its beginning phase. We see what is going on in other districts. We know that there's a potential second wave. Our administration, our faculty, our staff, and our parents and our kids are doing everything to prepare for that. And to my fellow Board of Ed members who have supported me, supported this district, thank you for all you do every day, because our job has never been as difficult as it has been this year. So to our entire community, I extend an apology for the distraction I have caused, and I thank you for your continued support of this amazing school district. Thank you.
Bill, I want
Mr.
to
Grisham.
thank you for your comments. The compliments that you've paid to our school district and our school district community and our staff is vintage, Mr. Farrell. And I sincerely appreciate your continued support for the mission of our school district. I asked to speak before we moved into the agenda this evening because I felt that there were issues that I needed to reflect on and to share with the 200 people who are on our Zoom tonight and to share with our staff and our community. I have been proudly serving as the superintendent of schools in the Jericho School District for 25 years. And I have to share that the events of the last 2 months have been as upsetting as any event I can think of in my experience in Jericho. Just recently, a doctored video was placed on the internet. A doctored video that was circulated, which totally misrepresents our board president, Mr. Bill Farrell. An edited video that cut and paste, and as a result of that cutting and pasting, presented our board president in not only the most unfavorable light, but in a light that is the furthest from the truth. Additionally, we have received emails. The board has received emails. Bill has received emails. We've received many emails in the district, falsely making accusations directed at Bill, directed at the board, directed at the school district. But frankly, the most hurtful ones have been directed to Bill. There have been multiple allegations of calling Bill a racist. Understand that this district and our board president has stood up loud and clear and stood up for our kids, all of our kids, and has spoken against racism for the last 10 years. To give you an example, yesterday, the school district received an email from a parent. The parent asked if we have some new kids in the district, some new homeless kids who had do-rags on. If that was not a racist comment that this district must fight against, nothing is. And I use that one example. I have to say that if anyone knows Bill and understands the work that Bill has done, not only as board president, but how Bill spends his every day, one would never, ever call Bill anything other than an unselfish, philanthropic, caring, sensitive human being. Bill has been a vocal supporter of all of our AIS and special education programs. When we have discussed over the last 10 years our E&L programs, Bill has personally advocated for us expanding those programs above and beyond federal and state mandates. He has pushed us to increase those programs to support our kids who are recent kids to our country. He has supported programs for the parents of those kids. He has supported programs for adult ESL programs. He has supported and recommended activities on the part of this school district to support our new families, to help our new families acclimate to the Jericho School District and to acculturate to the Jericho School District. He has been the voice that has supported our changing demographic and the kids that have moved into our district. Denise went through our board notes for the last 10 years and put together a list of the accomplishments of this school district. There were 10 pages of accomplishments that are directly related to the leadership of this Board of Education and the leadership of our board president. This district is nationally recognized for our excellence. This district is nationally recognized not only for our academic programs, but how we support our kids and families. Some have argued that the construction of the Hampton Inn will hurt the reputation of our school district. I would state for you right now that the reputation, based upon some of the emails and public statements that have been put out to the media, have had a far greater negative impact on the reputation of our school district than the conversion of the Hampton Inn into a temporary housing facility. Many of the emails have demanded a resignation and an apology from our board president. Probably in excess of 300 emails have asked for that. And I, right now, without question and without hesitation, say that those 300 authors don't deserve an apology from Bill, but they deserve to give Bill an apology for their emails. And I speak from the superintendent, but I also speak on behalf of every member of the Jericho staff when we say Bill is owed an apology for the names and accusations. For the record, I would like just once more to briefly go through the fact pattern. Last January, the school district heard from district residents that there was a rumor that the Hampton Inn was potentially being sold for the purposes of turning it into a temporary housing facility. When we heard that, we contacted the Department of Social Services and we went to visit the Department of Social Services. And at that meeting, we said, could you please inform us what's happening at the Hampton Inn? What is the plan? And what we were told at that point was, we are having some discussions with the current owners of the Hampton Inn and a potential buyer. We are months, but probably years away from finalizing any agreement in the sale, purchase, and leasing of the Hampton Inn. At that point, the Commissioner of Health of Social Services promised us that before anything was finalized, before any plans moved forward, not only would the school district be informed, but that they would hold public hearings. We offered space within within the district to host those meetings, and we were assured that if anything were to develop, we would be informed and our community would be informed. The reality is, a short time thereafter, we saw the sign come down on the Hampton Inn, and again, we called social services. At that point, we were told the Hampton Inn had been sold, there was a lease that was being executed, and a temporary housing facility was going to take over the Hampton Inn. We specifically asked what happened to community input, community meetings. We were told, well, because of COVID, we made the decision to move forward without any community meetings or community information. So what about informing the school district? We were told because of COVID and the rush to put this together, the school district was not officially informed either. The bottom line is, there was, to agree, there was no transparency in this agreement. But to also be very clear, the school district has no legal standing. This issue is between the town of Oyster Bay, Nassau County, the state of New York, and the Department of Social Services. The district has no standing, no legal standing, and therefore there is no reason that our board president should have been vilified or our Board of Education should have been vilified. We have no standing. The standing we do have, and it's based on the reputation that this Board of Education has set, is we will educate every kid who legally attends our school district, and we will attend them with 110% of our energies and our commitment. And that's what Bill was talking about when Bill spoke about the issue. We have a commitment. We have a commitment that we are going to educate all of our kids, and we will continue to do such. For further clarification, there is no cost to our school district to educate our homeless population. There is no cost to our taxpayers. Number two, there have been allegations of what our homeless population or kids have brought to our school district. For the record, there have been no instances where police have been necessary to intervene or significant disciplinary issues within our school district in dealing with either our homeless families or our homeless students. So let me be clear. The school district has a commitment to educate all of our kids. We will continue to educate all of our kids, and we will follow the direction and leadership and frankly the model that has been set by our board president. October is Board of Education Recognition Month through the state of New York. And every October, we have an opportunity to thank our Board of Education for their volunteerism, for committing hours of time. When I look at October of 2020, and I look at the issues that we've dealt with relative to our homeless shelter, but more importantly, when I look at the leadership that we've received from our Board of Education relative to dealing with the COVID-19, the reopening of school, the leadership and support we've received from the Board of Education has led to a smooth opening. The support we've received from the board, from our voluntary Board of Education, has been incredible. And the success of our opening is a direct result of the support we have received from our 5 members of the Board of Education. There is nothing that we have requested in terms of staffing, PPE, or any supports where the board has said, if it's necessary for the health and safety of our staff and our kids, go to it. That example during October Board Recognition Month in 2021 says it all. I am thankful every day for the leadership that this district receives from our 5 members of our Board of Education and from our board president, Mr. Bill Ferro. I thank Bill for his leadership and the modeling that he does in his personal life and his professional life. And I thank the other 4 members of the Board of Education for their continued support for us who work in this district and support our kids on a daily basis. Thank you. And with that, I would like to turn the meeting over to our board vice president, Mrs. Jill Citron.
Hi, everyone. Bill usually speaks on behalf of the board, but as vice president, I'd like to take this time to speak for the board on behalf of Bill Ferro. Bill has served on the board for over 11 years and had spent so much time working on behalf of the Jericho community, time that he could have spent with his family and time that he could have spent running his business. Bill is one of the most generous, philanthropic people that I know. He gives his time, his effort, his love and passion to our community, to people less fortunate, and to people who just need assistance. Recently, Bill has been attacked in a number of public forums. I want to speak on Bill's behalf for 2 reasons. I want the people who are speaking out against Bill to know who Bill truly is, rather than what they've heard in a few short-second soundbite. And I want to clarify some of the things that Bill said because they were either taken out of context or misunderstood. It's so nice that we have so many people online at this meeting, just like we have had at all of our recent Zoom board meetings. Prior to COVID, when our meetings were held in person, there were much, much fewer people in attendance. So I'm sure that most of you do not know Bill, do not know what he stands for, and do not know how much he cares for and has done for our community. Immediately after Parkland, Bill called us in for a meeting and insisted that the district hire a security company to assess and advise us on the safety measures we should adopt. He met with and supported our kids who wanted to hold a peaceful walkout as a memorial and protest to ensure they would be able to speak out and not be penalized for missing class. He prioritized efforts to address student stress and coordinated meetings between students and the board to help us understand the issues students are dealing with and the things that cause them stress. He regularly meets with students and community members who have concerns, including, among others, PTAs, staff, Girl Scouts, JAA, Fire Department, the Chinese Association, and religious groups. He helped implement the creation of the student board representative as a bridge between the board and the students. It's Bill's priority that all stakeholders in our community feel heard. Most of you probably don't realize that a Board of Education meeting is supposed to be a meeting only among the 5 board members that is held in public. We're not required to let anyone speak, comment, or even ask a question. The reason you don't know this is that Bill goes out of his way to be welcoming and let everyone speak and ask questions, not just at the opportunity for the public to be heard portion of the meeting, but throughout the whole meeting. Bill insists on transparency. He insists that we discuss all important business issues at our scheduled public meetings rather than at our work sessions, which are usually not well attended by the public. Bill prides himself on our meetings being a place where everyone feels welcome and has the opportunity to ask questions and express themselves. We have been told that our board and our meetings are probably more transparent and welcoming than any other board on Long Island, and this is because of Bill's leadership. Bill, and to some extent the board, has been attacked. These attacks have been personal, hurtful, and mean, and they're not based on fact. Prior to our August board meeting, the board received countless emails that were filled with animosity and hateful language in opposition to the transitional housing facility. In Bill's speech, he did not call a majority of our community racist. In fact, he did not call anyone racist. He said that the emails we received suggested that homeless families would bring criminal issues to our community were discriminatory, racist, and inappropriate. And surprisingly, many of the attacks on Bill called him racist. What Bill said is that we welcome everyone in our community. He said that the demographics of our community have changed and our administration and board have gone out of our way to welcome newcomers to our district and assist families who don't speak English. We have, among other things, translators, translation devices, E&L classes for adults, and E&L services for students. We don't understand how this was interpreted to imply that Bill is racist, but Bill is the last person whom I would call racist. He works full-time as a lawyer and is the managing partner of his firm, but spends even more time organizing events and donating items to help the community with a focus on Latino immigrants. He recently gave out 2,500 backpacks filled with school supplies to underprivileged children all over Long Island and Queens. Over the summer, he distributed thousands of masks. And for the last 8 years, he has turned his office into a Christmas store where parents were able to choose several items of toys and clothing for their children, while the children met Santa Claus and had their faces painted. Last year, over 800 children received Christmas presents from this event. Jericho's students, staff, and parents have truly benefited from Bill's presence and leadership on our board. I have learned so much from sitting on the board with Bill, and I appreciate everything he has done and will continue to do for our community. And I know the rest of the board and the administration join me in these sentiments. I think Deb wanted to say something.
Yes. Hi, everybody. I just like to jump in and say I like to take this opportunity for the Board Appreciation Month to thank Bill for asking me to run with him 5 years ago. Grateful for the opportunity to work alongside with Bill, fellow board members, and our administrators. Bill asked me to run on the board with him because he saw the change in our community. He wanted our board to reflect that change. He wanted to learn, to help, and to include everyone in the conversation, despite language and cultural differences. Bill has enabled me Bill has enabled me to share my perspective openly at different meetings. We don't always agree, but he will always inquire and take an interest in understanding. He's all about pulling the community together. With our current climate and situation, we tend to heavily focus on differences. Differences are unavoidable. Going forward, I'm hoping I can start focusing on what we have in common. We share the community. We want our kids, students to be healthy, happy, and getting the best education that they can. We want every student to feel safe and welcome in our building. We have the responsibility and obligation to do so, and I'm so thankful for Bill to ask me to run with him and do this together. I think I need to stop here.
I'd like to share a few words too. I appreciate the opportunity to say a few words, both in support of Bill Ferro's role on the board and in this community, and to try to build a bridge of reflection and understanding at a time when our community feels so upset and divided. The community recently expressed anger about a shelter that was announced without any public hearing. When things like that happen in a community, many feel a lack of trust and frustration. It was frustrating for all to not have all that information. I go back to Bill's words about what he shared at the last Board of Ed meeting. The Board of Ed at the time had received a slew of emails that were quite angry and full of blame. Now, as a clinical psychologist, something I understand very well is the emotion of anger. When people are angry or don't feel heard, supported, or validated, it can fuel the feeling of anger and prevent any meaningful dialogue. That night when Bill spoke, he was responding to the particular emails that came across our screens that were extremely angry, with some hostile and misdirected accusations. In his message that night, Bill meant to express his desire for more tolerance and respect in a way that communications are expressed, including by email. His goal is and has always been to give the opportunity to all to express themselves and to advocate for all in a respectful manner. It is all I have ever seen him do at every meeting. It seems his speech triggered some powerful and negative reactions, and once these powerful reactions are felt, emotions rise, communication stops, and misunderstandings are inevitable. Please take a step back for a moment and ask what you consider the intent of Board of Ed President Bill Ferro. Well, I know Bill, and I know his character. He is open-minded, accepting of different worldviews, and prides himself on respecting the dignity of all. I am in my 4th year on this board and could not be any prouder than to have Bill Ferro as our president. I know Bill's intent in so many areas of his life, his career, his volunteer work supporting those in need, and his volunteer work on this board. His intent is to humbly serve, help, guide, inspire, and to always do what is right. As you have heard from our superintendent, Vice President Jill Citron, and Trustee Dab Lee, Bill has aspired to and continues to dedicate himself to this community for over 11 years as an elected official in a volunteer position. Bill continues to serve and lead this board even after his children have graduated because his heart and soul is in this community. I have been a resident of Jericho for my entire life, and I have been fortunate enough to spend countless hours with Bill and this board and this administration, working together as a team to maintain the excellence of this district for all students and stakeholders. Thank you all, and thank you, Bill, for your leadership, for leading the way and inspiring us all.
I just wanted to say something very quick. I know I'm the lowest person here on this totem pole and only new to this board, but new enough, old enough to now know just how amazing of a leader you are, Bill. I want to thank you for advocating for all children in our community, even in the face of this adversity and opposition. You have my unwavering support now more than ever. Thank you for your tireless efforts as our leader, for your bravery, and for your fierce advocacy for every child in our community. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
Mr. Ferro, we are back to you, sir.
Bill, just unmute.
Sorry. Thank you. Thank you all. I'd like to call on Greg Sloan, please, for the recognition of our National Merit Scholarship semifinalists.
Just give me one sec.
Yes, thank you. Oh, was that not the right order?
Okay.
Good evening. Each year, approximately 1.5 million juniors take the PSAT. Juniors taking the exam are also potentially eligible for the National Merit Scholarship Program. The National Merit Scholarship Corporation recognizes the top 2 to 3% of scorers on the exam as National Merit Commended Students. Though these students do not move on in the competition, they are recognized for their exemplary performance on the PSAT. This year, Jericho is honored to announce that we have 32 current seniors recognized as commended students. National Merit semifinalists represent less than 1% of each state's high school seniors and are the highest scorers in each of the 50 states. Before National Merit semifinalists can be considered for Merit Scholarship Awards, they must qualify as finalists by completing National Merit's online scholarship application, which were all submitted earlier this week. It is my pleasure to announce that we have 21 National Merit semifinalists in Jericho, one of the highest numbers from any single high school in New York State. Congratulations once again to our National Merit semifinalists and National Merit semifinalists.
Thank you, Greg, and congratulations to all our students on that amazing accomplishment. And with that, I'd like to call Dr. Eric Sundberg for the recognition of History Research Awards. And while we're getting ready for Dr. Sundberg, I would say, you know, in this Zoom world, unfortunately, we can't have the kids with us. You know, it's one of the highlights of every meeting is how many kids we bring in for various accomplishments. And, you know, I wish we could do more. But for now, we'll do what we can, and we send our best regards and congratulations to all our kids and their families on these amazing accomplishments. Dr. Sundberg.
We're now going to recognize 37 Jericho students, mostly from middle school, but also from the high school, and for the first time from an elementary school for their achievements in history research. We've been entering students for a number of years in New York State History Day and National History Day. We have winners in those categories, but we also have students who've won in the Lowell Milken Foundation Unsung Heroes Award, and a number of students who are being recognized for their achievements with the New York State Archives Award. This story is especially important this year for a number of reasons. One, this is a story of a number of students and every teacher who's in the social studies department last year continuing to work with these students through a pandemic, meaning we were completely remote. And so this is a story of students and teachers who've shown heart, who have been cheerful in really difficult times. And I think this demonstrates that when you maintain that mindset, you can still achieve. Two, I think, is the story of the expansion of this program to now include students who continue to work on this in high school, and we've now begun to expand into the elementary schools. Three, to me, is since we've been doing this a number of years now, we have a lot of repeat performers, so students whose names might become familiar to you now, who have won not only this year, but last year and the year before. So if we judge a social studies program by its ability to impart enthusiasm for the subject onto students, that repeat performance piece is the one that I think is the best evidence of our success. So I'm going to introduce some teachers who are going to introduce students, and the teachers are basically the social studies department in Jericho Middle School, and our fine middle school librarian. So we're going to introduce Christina Becker and Laura Sokopar, Pam Travis, James Lawler, Michelle Vivanti, our amazing librarian Valerie Conklin, and social studies teacher Teresa Cantwell, who serves as a coordinator for our competitions and does so much for all of these students in preparing for the competitions. And I have already neglected to mention the great social studies teacher, Mr. Kavoros, whose name you can hear attached to a lot of these awards tonight. Sorry, Konstantinos.
Thank you, Dr. Sundberg. We will now recognize students who were awarded by the New York State Archives for their outstanding research. Nicholas Tatiri, Natasha Kobawat, Kira He, Jordan Perlman, Ada Lynn, Kushi Patel, Jessica Weissman, Josephine Song, Claire Choi, Arush Kisti, Arjun Bindra, Vishruth Goya.
Thank you, Ms. Sachapar. To continue on, Neha Kamat, Emily Kawakami, Emily Kim, Tara Karipa, Manfred Lim, Catherine Kim, Emily Kim, William Kim Schumacher, Samuel Han, Samay Lakhani, Patrick Zhao, Andrew Yoon, Michelle Dom, Kevin Zhu, and Sujay Sundar.
Thank you, Ms. Becker. The next 11 students have received top honors and cash awards for their outstanding research. First is Brendan Sheck, who earned recognition for his research paper, Si Se Puede, Dolores Huerta, Breaking Barriers for Foreign Workers' Rights. Brendan earned honorable mention for the New York State Archives Research Competition, as well as the Latino History Award for National History Day. Next, we have Caitlin Choi, who earned recognition for her website, James Reese Europe, the Jazz Lieutenant. Caitlin placed second at National History Day, second at the New York State Archives Research Award, and she won the Outstanding Middle School Project for the Lowell Milken Center Unsung Heroes.
Next, we're going to recognize our former middle school students who are now competing at the high school level for their work. They did a documentary called Ann Hopkins, Breaking the Glass Ceiling of Employment, and won second place at the Lowell Milken Center for their Student Research Award. They also received an honorable mention from the New York State Archives. Their names are Elaine Zhao, Grace Lee, and Zara Kizelbash.
We'd like to take this time to recognize the amazing work of Stephanie Sue and Noha Myrie. Their documentary on Thurgood Marshall took top honors in the New York State Student Archives Award and 5th place nationally in National History Day.
The dedication of these young historians, Stephanie and Noha, to their research during the pandemic was unwavering. We are proud to announce these honors for their excellence in student research.
We'd like to recognize the next students from the elementary, middle school, and high school level for their excellence in research. First, we have the group Alexa Coben and Sarah Cohen, who did a website, The Most Beautiful Girl in the World, Hedy Lamarr and the Wireless Revolution. They placed in the top 10 in the nation at the Lowell Milken Center, the Unsung Hero Award. Congratulations. Next, from the elementary school, Sahana Sundar. She did a Google slideshow on Seneca Falls Convention, paving the way towards suffrage and equal rights for women. She placed first in New York State. Last, we have the Kim sisters, both Emily and Catherine, who have won several years in all of their research competitions. This year, they won first place in the high school for their documentary on the Supreme Court case, the historic Supreme Court case of Loving versus Virginia. Thank you for your time, and we'd like to end with some video clips of what the research meant to our top winners in the research program.
Hello, my name is Sahana Sundar, and I am so excited to be talking to you today. The only advice I would like to give future participants is to pick a topic that really interests you, have lots of fun as you explore, and be prepared to be fascinated by what you uncover.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Sue.
Hi, my name is Noha Myrie.
Some advice we would like to give to future Student Research Award participants is to pick a topic that you are passionate about. Research your topic thoroughly and utilize the archives to gather primary sources for your project.
Keep your research organized and be productive. And most importantly, have fun.
Hi, my name is Catherine Kim. And I'm Emily Kim. As we came across a trailer for the award-winning movie Loving, which was released in 2016, our group became intrigued with the Loving versus Virginia case and delved into researching Southern anti-miscegenation laws that prohibited interracial marriages. As students who have always been particularly interested in the civil rights movement in our history classes, we immediately became captivated by the Siegel case. With this initial fascination, we were eager and motivated to begin researching Loving versus Virginia.
I love National History Day because it is a good time to branch out and make new friends with the person you're working with. My topic this year was Hedy Lamarr. History is important to me because you should know about the past and how we even got here today. I'm glad NHG wasn't canceled because we put so much work and time into this project, and it would be such a shame if it went to waste.
Hi, my name is Alexa Coben, and I love National History Day because overall I just love learning about history. And I think it's very important for me to bring what I learned from school to my family members, because back then they didn't have the same learning opportunities as we do today due to new technology and etc. My partner and I's topic was Hedy Lamarr, and I'm so glad that National History Day was not canceled because, in my opinion, Hedy Lamarr really represents women empowerment and how women are just as capable as men, and I really think our website represents that.
And Hopkins really struck me because it was around the same time, and then her case was all the way, she fought it in lower cases for 7 years until it was taken up by the Supreme Court. And her perseverance on this specific topic really inspired me.
With her bravery, she was able to go out and actually fight her case, not just for her own partnership or her own merit, but just for everybody else, every other female in the work professions, working for female rights and fighting sex stereotyping and gender stereotyping in the workplace.
With every issue in the world, whether that's like gender stereotyping, women's rights, or just poverty, all these other things, there are people whose faces we associate with those issues, but behind all of that, there are so many other people who have done so much more, have done just as much, but they're not recognized because maybe they're not as popular or for whatever other reasons. And women's right is like young women ourselves, like it's such an important part of our life, and to recognize her and to be able to research about her was really eye-opening.
But it's to announce that Caitlin, you and your project, James Reese Europe, the Jazz Lieutenant, it has been named the Outstanding Middle School Project in the United States, and you receive a $2,000 stipend. So congratulations.
I got to have a lot of fun just like looking at a variety of different sources. Like I was able to go in person and look at like photographs, letters, newspapers. And there are also so many like interesting primary sources I found, like a memoir. But then it was just really fun to look at all these different sources and just see it all come together and choose which ones I wanted to show.
Yeah. That was amazing. Thank you, Dr. Sumberg. Congratulations to our students. Best project in the entire United States is a pretty impressive accolade to receive, though we're never surprised by the amazing accomplishments of our kids. Moving along, we're going to have, I guess this is the first one of the year, report of the Middle School Student Council, Cole Friedman. Cole, are you with us? We're happy to have you, so welcome.
Cole should be coming over. Here he is.
Good evening. My name is Cole Friedman. I'm an 8th grade student representative for the Jericho Middle School. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. Although it is October, this is the first student council report for the school year. So I'm honored to kick off the 2020 to 2021 school year with you. So let me begin by thanking our central office administration, Dr. Gately, Mr. Gleason, and Ms. Bear, teachers and staff for a smooth school opening during these unprecedented times. A very big thank you to our custodians, who have been everywhere day and night, keeping our buildings clean and safe. Whether we are following the hybrid model or full remote, we are all in this together. Which leads me to our first piece of exciting news. This year's 9th annual Oveus theme is We Are All in This Together. We have many fun activities planned, starting Friday, October 16th, and ending on Friday, October 23rd. Our keynote speaker will be Asia Myrock, author of The Survival Guide to Bullying and Dear Girl. Some of the week-long activities will include student discussion panel, restorative classroom circles, digital escape room activity, flash mob dance, and an app created for all students to calculate how many steps they have taken, whether on the Jericho track or from home. We will have the students wear our We Stand Up, We Don't Stand By t-shirts on scheduled dates. We have so many more fun activities planned that we will be sharing with you. We are so excited. This week, Congressman Tom Suozzi, representing the 3rd District, visited the Jericho Middle School to speak in some of our 6th and 8th grade social studies classes. The students had the opportunity to ask Congressman Suozzi questions and discuss his role in government and how he represents us. It was interesting and extremely informative. Since we're talking about the middle school social studies classes, many of our middle school students have achieved great success in the New York State Archives Student Research Competition, the Lowell Milken Unsung Hero Award, and National History Day. Congratulations to Dr. Sumberg, students, and our social studies teachers. Our virtual back to school night Wednesday, September 30th, was a great success. We received so much positive feedback from our parents. We want to thank our teachers for doing an awesome job. Our SEL theme for the month of October is courage. Courage can be defined as strength in mind to carry on in spite of difficulty, anger, as well as overcoming fear. Let me end with, we are Jericho Strong, we are all in this together.
Thank you, Cole. That was incredible. Thank you for doing the first middle school presentation of the year. Great to hear all the amazing things that are going on at middle school, and thank you for being here with us so late this evening. We really appreciate it. And now, with our high school student council report, Alexia Cadota Browner and Jake Kupferman. Welcome.
They should also be coming. See Alexia?
All right. We'll get started once Jake is able to hop on as well.
Good evening. I'm Jake Kupferman.
And I'm Alexia Cadota Browner.
and we are excited to serve as the Jericho High School Student Council Presidents for the 2020-2021 school year.
With the changes that COVID has brought to the way school is run, it is certain that this year will be far from normal. However, Jake and I are committed to ensuring that the students of Jericho can enjoy a fun and memorable year and are safe throughout the entire process.
Right now, we are in the process of planning and preparing for a 10-day Spirit Week within the high school. We have decided on 5 dress-up days: Pajama Day, Jersey Day, Whiteout Day, Jericho Day, and Halloween Costume Day, for students to dress up and show their school spirit. Due to the hybrid nature of school, each dress-up theme will last 2 days, allowing each cohort a day to dress up in the building.
The Spirit Week will also feature a family night, a day of no homework where students and their families are encouraged to support local businesses and spend time with each other by going out to dinner.
Additionally, we will host a Halloween hallway decorating and a Halloween parade on Thursday the 29th and Friday the 30th of October. This fits well with the Halloween holiday and will help create content for the yearbook and video yearbook.
Finally, to honor the seniors, there will be a Class of 2021 banner hung up in the senior lounge. Seniors will have the opportunity to stop by the cafeteria to sign their names on the banner before it is hung up.
Alexia and I are so excited to be back in action, and we are hoping for a healthy and fun school year. Thank you and have a great night.
Thank you, Alexia and Jake. Thanks for being with us tonight. Welcome back to the school year, since this is the first Student Council report, and we look forward to you being with us every month and hearing how you're adapting to school during these COVID times, and really get some insight into how things are going next month. So thank you, and have a great night.
Thank you.
We're going to do the PTA Council report and ask Gina Levy to present at this time.
On? Hang on, wait. There I am. Sorry, hi. Okay, good? Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Gina Levy, and I am the president of the Jericho Joint PTA Council. The Joint PTA Council is a group of executive PTA members that represent all the units in Jericho. We meet as a group, and we are able to exchange and talk about our schools within Jericho as a group. So the one hand kind of knows what the other hand is doing. This has been a very challenging time for everyone in our community. Our PTAs are working very hard to find new norms for our families, staff, and students. We are continuing to work with all to ensure that our children are safe, learning, and moving forward. The school opening for this year went very smoothly. The students were happy and excited to be engaged in school again, be it remote or in person. They took well to the new safety procedures and are adjusting very well to the new norm. A few bumps and turns, but I believe we are in a good place to help ensure that our students are getting the education they need. Back to school night went off in most of the schools, from what I understand, due to the hard work of all of the staff and the principals and our tech departments to help our families get on. It was a pleasure to see other parents, as well as to meet our children's teacher via Zoom and hear them talk about this upcoming year. Being able to keep moving forward and not letting any obstacles get in our way, but working for a common goal for the health, continued fundraisers and programs, PTA can try to keep going during these times. Your PTAs are working very hard to try and make a new norm for all. I would like to make a reminder that in doing the new norm, we will be holding our joint open council for PTA on October 27th at 7 p.m. and we hope you all Zoom in. We would also like to say congratulations to the 2021 National Merit semifinalists and the winners of the History Research Awards. It's wonderful to hear you all talk about the passion of your projects and hard work. You should all be very proud. Congratulations. But our PTAs cannot do work and what we do alone. We need the support of our Board of Ed and administrators, and this is Board of Education Recognition Month. So I'd like to thank our board. Our board is dedicated to the students who walk our halls and their families. We are grateful for all of your hard work, countless hours, efforts, and energies that go into the many, many hours that you give to our school community, especially this year during these COVID times. Our board is always working hard to ensure the best for our children's safety, emotional well-being, Jericho's reputation for excellence in all areas, as well as doing this and being fiscally responsible for our community. This year has had many more twists and turns, I personally believe, than in the past. But in true Jericho style, our board has made sure that everyone was cared for, questions were answered, and they did the best they could to turn on a switch and go remote in a few short days, all the while continuing to work with the staff, faculty, students, families, and PTAs to make sure we could reopen our schools this fall in the best way possible. We are very grateful to all of our board, time, energy, and effort, that when everybody walks into our schools, they are safe for our students and staff, and that there are smiles, be it underneath our children's masks and the staff masks, but there are smiles still there, and that is a tremendous task to do. On a personal note, as a president, I would like to say how much I appreciate all that you do, Bill, as president of the Board of Education. I knew you before I was on the board, and I did not understand the rules and laws when I was, say, very passionate about Common Core. You and the others on the board helped me to understand the rules given to you by the state and showed me where I could educate myself more on the matter. Then, when I was elected onto the board, it was you, Bill, and the other Board of Ed members who helped me to learn the rules of which we are bound to once we take the oath after we are elected. Bill, you told me to speak up. You encouraged me to speak up. And I know there were times you regretted that you encouraged me to do so. But now that I have sat on both sides of the table, I understand how different it is to be a parent, a PTA member, a Board of Ed member, and now a Joint Council President. Bill, you have worked tirelessly with all the Board of Education members over the years, including myself, to ensure that everyone is heard in our school. Decisions are fair and level-minded, and to ensure that everything is talked through at great length and never taken lightly when anyone in our school has something to say or questions are asked. When the board has had difference of opinions, and trust me, we have, it was Bill that said, once the vote is taken, it doesn't matter who voted what. We had to make sure that we moved together for the best interest of Jericho and our students. And that's what a true president does. You bring us together. Bill and Hank and the rest of the board, you all help our schools to navigate through many issues over the years. Common Core, proposed charter schools, traffic lights, holidays added to the calendar, exchange students, and so on and so on. And now onto COVID and other issues, like the Hampton Inn. Deb, Jill, Pam, and Divya, I want to say thank you for all your work in PTA, as past presidents of PTA, and now as Board of Education members, continuing to ensure that Jericho has a variety of voices to represent our community. I know it is very hard work, long hours, heart-wrenching decisions that must be made, and many times frustrating, like now during COVID. Your commitment for what is always right and fair for Jericho schools while upholding the laws and rules of New York State Department of Education is extremely difficult. But in the end, you all on that side of the table, Bill as president, Jill as VP, Deb, Pam, and Divya as trustees, Mr. Grishman, Mrs. Bauer, Dr. Chufo, and Mr. Manuel, you all work together and always do what is in the best interest and safety for our students, families, staff, PTA, and our community, no matter how trying and difficult things get. Your support for our children, staff, family, and PTAs, you always find a way to make things work out. Thank you very much. We are all very grateful and appreciate all that you do every day. to get our schools running and making our children happy and wanting to come to school to learn. Be safe, everybody, and healthy, and good night.
Thank you, Gina. I did say feel free to talk as much as you want. I just didn't mean that much. Thank you. That's awesome. Great to see you. Before we get to Chloe, who I'm going to introduce in a moment, I'd like to introduce our middle school principal, Don Gately.
Should be coming.
Sorry, Denise.
Oh, that's okay.
Don, you're muted. Don, you're muted.
Hashtag things people say during COVID-19, right? Constantly. In addition to my responsibilities as principal of the middle school, I'm also the president of the Jericho Educational Administration Association, which is the principals, and I'm really pleased to have this opportunity to lend our voices along with the other associations in the district in support of Bill and all of our members of the Board of Education on recognition of Board Recognition Month. You know, our board trustees dedicate countless personal hours to meetings and school functions and hours of preparation for all of the decisions that they make. On top of that, many pursue their own professional development to stay on top of an ever-changing educational landscape. This has never been more evident than it is now. I've heard Hank describe the school board as the toughest volunteer job in America. And this has never been more true than it is today. None of the elected members of our Board of Education ever suspected that they would be asked to serve under the conditions of a global pandemic and the countless decisions and plans that would have to be made. It's really incredible. I'm just going to just screen share for a second a picture that I've always been inspired by. Norman Rockwell was commissioned to create a series of paintings to encourage the purchase of bonds during World War II. And for a while, he was without ideas. And it's reported that he went to a local town board meeting in the small town that he lived in Vermont and was inspired to make the first of these 4 paintings called the 4 Freedoms. This one that we see in front of us was dedicated to freedom of speech. The thing I love about that painting is that, as research has it, that was a local school board meeting that Norman Rockwell was attending. And it's been said that the school board preserves the core of our democracy, public education. They ensure that decisions on school programming are made by people we've elected to represent our community's values, their culture, and circumstances. So showing appreciation for the important work of school boards should be a year-round process, but too often we neglect to recognize the dedication and the hard work of all of these men and women. I'm privileged to speak on behalf of the Jericho teachers, principals, curriculum associates, CSEA, Learning Center, and Substitute Teachers Associations in recognizing our amazing Jericho Board of Education. Each of our associations is pleased to make a donation to the Scholarship Fund on behalf of the board. We want to thank you so much for all that you do for our schools and the community. Stay well.
Thank you, Don. Thanks for being with us tonight. We appreciate all you do every day as well. So thank you. It means a lot. Finally, we're going to call upon Ron Verderber, JTA president, to say a few words as well. Welcome, Ron.
Hello. I just like to say that the last several months have been challenging for all of us. It'd be a tremendous understatement. We've managed to open our school buildings under extraordinary circumstances. Nothing we're doing is ideal except for the fact that everything we do is being done together in order to provide the safest environment we can attain for our students and staff members to learn and work. The Board of Education has been significant in helping provide the resources and environment for a collaboration that is necessary for us to move forward during this global pandemic. I'd just like to take the opportunity to mention something about when Bill Farrow attended a meeting that was held with the executive board of the JTA, the Jericho Teachers Association Central Office, in August, to discuss how we could safely provide in-person instruction this year I was struck by the concern he shared for the safety of our students and staff. I wasn't surprised, especially after numerous conversations with him. I've come to know that he's a man of compassion and deep caring for anyone facing adversity or struggles in their lives. He doesn't just talk about it, he puts his words into actions. And those actions have had a significant impact on the lives of not only our Jericho students, but numerous families and communities across Long Island. Mr. Farrell, please know that I personally, and as president of the Jericho Teachers Association, recognize you not only as a longtime and committed member of our Board of Education, but also as a person who stands for the values that are most important in the lives of our students, our staff members, and the families whose lives you help impact every day. So I just wanted to say thank you and recognize you along with the rest of the Board of Education.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you for being here with us tonight, and thank you for your kind words. They're most appreciated. And continued safety to all our teachers and staff, and as I said earlier tonight, our sincere thanks for everything each of you have done since day one to make this a success that it is. Thanks again. Whew, let's see. Now, patiently waiting, I must say, and I'll introduce Chloe in a moment, but as Jill said, the Board of Ed was at a NYSSBA board convention about 4 or 5 years ago now, I suppose, and I think it was 5 years ago. And we heard a presentation by an upstate school board where they had a student rep on their board, and we hadn't heard of any student reps. And we immediately came back and started discussing the idea, and we actually put it into action. And it has been an incredibly rewarding position to have a student rep to the Board of Education. For me personally, as president of the Board of Ed, and to our other Board of Ed members and to the administration, to be able to get firsthand feedback and communication from students that are well respected by their classmates because they've been elected to this position, and it's a position that they take very seriously. So this year we welcome Chloe Liu, who is our student council rep. Chloe and I met this week for the first time with our masks on, and now we get to actually see each other, even though it's through a screen. So I'm kind of excited. And we talked about, what Chloe should expect this year, what we expect from Chloe, and we really look forward to the input you have. And so tonight in October, this is your first opportunity to address the board and the community as a student rep. So on behalf of the entire board and the administration, welcome and thank you for being with us.
Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Chloe Liu and I'm honored to be the Board of Education representative for the 2020-2021 school year. Tonight I will be discussing the reopening of the new school year and how students are adjusting to the new hybrid schedule. First, I would like to thank all staff members and administrators for working so hard the past few months and coming up with a plan for students to re-enter the building in a safe manner and creating a sense of normalcy. As we are entering the second month of school, I am pleased to say that the first month of school was a success. Although there were a few bumps and issues here and there in the beginning, many students and teachers were able to resolve the issues and adjust to the new norms. Students are wearing masks at all times and following the social distancing guidelines implemented by the school. Something that I would like to highlight that me and my peers have enjoyed during the first month of school was a nest period. A nest period, an idea that a committee of teachers have created about a year ago and made it a reality this year, is a period during a student's English class where the entire class, including those who are completely virtual, has a group conversation about how they're adjusting to being back in school and speaking about how they feel during this unsettling time. Many students find this period helpful as it allows them to take a break from their academics and just have a friendly conversation with their peers whom they haven't seen in the past 6 months. Many students are glad to be back learning in person and even wish to go back every day if they could. Alexia, Jake, and I are working closely together to make the most out of this school year by brainstorming fun and engaging activities that would adhere to social distancing. My main goal for this school year is to have as smooth of a school year as possible during these unprecedented times. Of course, the school year does look different compared to years in the past, but I will not let that affect my role in presenting my peers' thoughts and opinions to the Board of Education. Thank you.
Thank you, Chloe. Just wanted to ask you, so how is your adjustment going with school and your interaction with your classmates and your friends? I know it's different, but so far, what are you feeling?
It's definitely different, especially with like the desk shields where there's the piece of plastic in between you and your fellow classmates and the 6 feet apart. But I definitely do think it's needs to go back, especially for those who are better like hand-on learners like me, where I was struggling a little bit during when we were virtual during the spring. So I think coming back to school was a great idea and definitely helps those students who have better learning experiences when they're in person. You're on mute, Mr. Farrow.
Thank you. See, that's the old person. Notice Chloe's the only one that knew how to quickly unmute and mute herself so fast. So this year, more than ever with the Student Council rep, we're really going to rely on you to kind of really bring, student input to us because, it's such a different world as we know. And if you think that there's things that we could make the student experience better or the learning experience better that we might not even think of, please, let the board know, let Mr. Grishman know, let one of your advisors know, and we'd love to hear from you. So thank you for being here tonight, and we're looking forward to a lot more from you this year. Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Our enrollment as of October 2nd was 3,142 students. That is 4 students less than we were at our September board meeting. I'd like to share a few observations and comments with our board and with our school community. Firstly, again, we're, I think, past our 5th week of school, and I once again have to congratulate the incredible work of our teaching staff in balancing the challenges that they've had to face since the opening of school. Tremendous level of support from our technology department, our buildings and grounds department, and our administrators. And again, I think as Chloe said, not bump free, but again, I think we're doing extremely, extremely well considering the challenges we face. Literally on a daily basis, we are always waiting for a shoe to drop. I would like also to spend a minute just to compliment the Nassau County Department of Health. I know that since March, they have been understaffed and overworked, but this summer, they assigned one of the deputy commissioners of health in Nassau County, Dr. Tavora Buckman. They've assigned her to service the 56 school districts in Nassau County and to provide support for them literally 24/7. We have a direct line to her where we can get to her morning, noon, and night, Saturdays and Sundays. And anytime we've reached out to her for guidance and direction, Tavora has been there and has been a huge support. So again, as we look at the challenges we know that we're going to face, we feel good in knowing that we have Dr. Buckman readily available. We also compliment our school physician, Dr. Marino, who also has been available literally 24/7 to assist us and answer our questions. One of the things that related to this that we're looking at, and we've had some initial discussions, but our school physician, Dr. Marino, is looking at the possibility of setting up a site close to the Jericho School District sometime within the next 4 or 5 weeks. But it would be a site that initially would provide COVID tests where students and staff members who chose to go to that site would receive the results of that test by 8 o'clock the following morning. The plan is that at a later date, when there is a more reliable actual rapid test, that they would include the rapid test in their repertoire. But as of now, the board has given us permission to continue discussions with Dr. Marino. And as this plan unfolds, we see the potential of this being extremely supportive for our parent community and our staff community. And we will keep you posted on that. I wanted to point out also, Denise is working closely with Margaret Aaron to run a food drive. I believe an email went out to our community today. There will be a food drive on October the 21st from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. in our front circle. It will be to support the Jericho community. We have, over the summer, ran 2 food drives where we collected a great deal of food and are supporting our community members who are in need. It has worked extremely well, and I thank Margaret Aaron for the work that she's done. She's in the district several days a week, putting together food packages. She's supported by our board member, Jill Citron, and by Denise Nash in this activity. And again, as the challenge of the times that we're in increases, the support that we're giving to our families is so important. So we will have additional information that will come out from Denise's office, reminding you of what we need and ask for your support on October the 21st. Some of the questions that have been asked on either our chat or through our PTA meetings, where I wanted to clarify some information. One of the questions is, can we share what are the numbers look like for the number of kids who are remote? The numbers vary day to day and week to week, but the numbers based on the building are as low as 25% students being remotely instructed to 50% of our kids being remotely instructed. We see, we've been asked the question, how is that number changing over time? There is a slight increase in the number of kids who are returning to school from remote, but again, the numbers are pretty static. Also, one of the questions that we've been asked by PTA is, what is bus ridership looking like so far this year? We are based on the school bus routes, we have, I think, as few as 2 or 3 kids on a route and as many as 18 kids on a route. What I can report to you is that in no case is there more than 1 student sitting in a school bus seat. One of the questions also I know that the board was asked is the board meeting by Zoom or together? And this evening I'd like to report that our entire Board of Education and central office staff are on site at our middle school, high school complex. And I thank our board for being together this evening to review and update us on several of issues that are facing us relative to our school reentry. I've asked, again, one of the questions that we've been asked most frequently is relative to student assessment. How are you assessing kids that are hybrid? How are you assessing kids that are remote learners? I've asked Barbara Bauer if she could spend a couple of minutes and share with you, our Board of Education and our school community, an overview of student assessment. Barbara?
Thank you, Mr. Grishman. I'll go over the assessments at each of the levels so that you can get a sense of the totality of the assessments that we are doing at this time. At each of the elementary schools, we're in the process of completing NWEA assessments in ELA. And once the ELA assessments are done, we'll follow that up with mathematics assessments. The information that we use, that we get from NWEA is used to learn about individual students' strengths and needs, as well as whole class understandings of topics and skills. And teachers are able to take this information in order to plan instruction and meet either small group or individual needs based upon the reports that they get. Of course, teachers continue to observe and conference with individual students to determine skill development and understanding. They're constantly evaluating student work to assess understanding of concepts that have been introduced. And of course, where appropriate, tests and quizzes are being used to determine mastery of individual topics and need for reteaching. The secondary level, the middle school has completed the NWEA ELA assessments this week, and they're in the process of administering the math assessments. And the information that we get at the middle school level is very similar to what we get at the elementary level. Teachers have continued authentic methods of assessing student work. Many times they'll use a rubric to give feedback as well. Examples of the type of student work that we look at would be in-class assignments, homework assignments, essays, hyperdocs, responses to articles, lab work, performance task projects, student research assignments, oral presentations, or group work. Shifts to utilizing Google Suite as well as other educational platforms have enabled our teachers to provide feedback on student work in real time and enable opportunities to review and refine assignments. Where appropriate, of course, we continue to use tests and quizzes, mostly using electronic formats. The College Board has given our teachers access to test questions that teachers can use, and they can select for a particular topic. Teachers can also determine time allotments for each question and can choose a bank of questions from which a predetermined number of questions are asked for each student. Castle Learning, also an electronic testing service, enables similar opportunities for classes other than AP classes rather, with teachers writing their own test questions. Many teachers have allowed students to access their textbook and/or their notes during assessments to level the playing field for all students. In many cases, teachers are developing a number of different assessments on the same topic that's being used during different periods and on different days of testing. Teachers also continue to use informal assessment methods to determine students' understanding of lesson objectives. They use exit tickets, signaling, journal writing, and other methodologies. They also require students to leave their cameras on during testing periods and in some cases leave their microphones on so that they can monitor students as they are assessed. As I'm sure you're all aware, this year has presented some very unique challenges, not only for ensuring that our students continue to get a quality education at all times, whether they're here at school or at home, but also in the way that we're assessing our students. I must commend all of the administrators and the teachers who continue to be creative in order to find effective ways to assess our students and refine our methods to develop accurate and fair reporting for student understanding. Thank you, Mr. Grishman.
Thank you, Barbara. And I just a note of thanks for your incredible work through the spring challenge and the reopening challenge in working with our staff to ensure that we were supporting our staff and to support our kids and the quality of instruction that we're providing to our students K-12. Your leadership is appreciated and noticed, and your support for our teaching staff is also so well noticed. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you.
Bill?
Hank, a couple questions real quick that were posted. One that we talked about earlier when we were chatting, actually. People are asking, so if the numbers are down and we don't have that many kids, what if a kid wants to attend school full-time instead of hybrid? Hank, and Ben, what would that do to our numbers? What would that do to our classrooms the way that they're currently situated?
Basically, we knew that that would be a question from our board and from the community. What we've done is we've assessed our middle school and high school classrooms and schedule and asked our administrators in both buildings to assess what, if both A and B kids were in on the same day, what would our class loads look like? And we found that depending upon middle school and high school, we were between 15 and 35 classrooms that would, based upon our current practice of maintaining 6 feet, they're again between 18 and probably 35, 38 classrooms that we would not be able to accommodate all the students who are currently hybrid in our middle school and high school. We're going to continue to study that. Obviously, our goal would be, if we could, to bring all of our kids back. We know that our parents want their kids back full-time. We know our staff wants to see our kids back full-time. So we are going to continue to assess that. Can we look at room utilization? Can we be more creative in room utilization? However, as we move toward bad weather and the winter, our options become a little more limited, but we are going to continue to study that. And I appreciate, the support that we've had in the high school from the high school administrators and the middle school from the middle school administrators, and continuing to study that issue. And Bill, to your question, at each of our coming board meetings, I will update the board and the community in terms of how that looks in terms of whether it's possible or not in the near future.
Thank you, Hank. And then there's one more question that I kind of wanted to throw out to Ben, because I think it's important. And I think we've actually, we've talked about this as well. Somebody asked, do our numbers include students who are learning online from vacation homes or alternative locations that are not here in Jericho? And I think, Ben, we have an answer for that, correct?
Yeah, we do. Students, in order to attend the Jericho schools, whether that is remote or hybrid, must be residents of the school district. And again, Chris has outlined for us numerous times the definition of a resident of the school district. So students that are or have been remoting in from summer homes or grandparent homes that are out of state or out of the country, we have removed those students from our register. So actually, this evening I reported -4 students. I would not be surprised if those were students that were removed from our register because they're currently not residing in our school district.
Thank you, Hank. The last thing that I have, I don't know if anybody else has anything. It's not really a question, but last year and it's not really a discussion for now. Last year we discussed at 2 meetings at length the potential of renaming the Robert Seaman School in memory and honor of Jeffrey Ratner. I'd like to have us put that on the November agenda so that we can revisit those conversations. I know COVID has changed a lot of things. I know that I had asked you to be in touch with Mr. Ratner's family, and you did. But I just like the community and his family to know that that's not lost on us. There's just were other things that we just were so unexpected. But if we can maybe get back to that conversation in November, I think would be.
Bill, I just personally feel very good about that. I know that when we discussed it last year with the board, and we received a lot of positive feedback from all of Jeff's folks, and I mean that both professionally and personally. And again, I think the decision that we initially made last spring, when we had intended to vote on it, to visit it when we were live and could celebrate Jeff in a setting where we were all in attendance, and I think the board's good intention was most commendable. As time has progressed and as we don't see the light at the end of the tunnel right now, I would love to see the discussion continue at our November board meeting. And I will once again reach out to Jeff's family, who've been wonderfully supportive and understanding. I will reach out and share with them that our discussions will continue next month. Appreciate your comment very much. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Hank. And Ben, just as a follow-up to what we talked about, I know it's real difficult, but I guess people are curious. How would we know if somebody is learning remotely but outside of the district? So they have a home in Jericho, they've either left the country, left the state, left the town.
And in every case, we've received information that the child is not living in the community through a number of sources. Okay, when we get that information, we call the parent. We try to determine if the child is living in the district, and in at least 5 cases, we found that the children were not living here and the children were excluded from school. Once the child and or children return to the district and our residents, we enroll them, and in one case we did that. 2 children were out of the country. We discovered that. We removed them from school. They have since moved back into the district, and we verified that, and they're currently in our system.
Thank you. Let's move to approval of minutes, if we can.
Bill, can I ask one question?
Oh, of course, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, sure. I just wanted to ask, Hank, could you maybe talk a little bit, since the kids have been coming back and some kids are remote, emotional, mental health wise, any specific programming that we are doing to help the kids adjust?
Yeah, there has been a fair amount of professional development and support for our teaching staff. Our PPS staff, as you know, the board, and I thank the board, authorized us in our budget development last year to increase our PPS staffing, which has been incredibly careful and incredibly helpful. As we did last year, we continue to track our kids that are high risk or moderate risk. I think Chloe spoke a little bit about our NEST program. We're continuing to look at both middle school and high school SEL programs that will again support SEL in the district. Barbara has been closely following the professional development and support that we're giving to our teaching staff. Greg Sloan has also been working closely with our PPS staff. The mental health of our kids is of great concern, and in many cases a higher concern than educational program. And parallel to that, our concern for the mental health and well-being of our staff is great. We know that our staff members, while they're dealing with the challenges of a very different instructional environment during the school day, in many cases they're returning home with the challenges of dealing with their kids who are remote learning or hybrid learning. They're dealing with loved ones and the need to social distance to support them. So the stress levels of our staff is a great concern as well. And very frankly, I think we need to look at some strategies to help support the 700 adults that work in our school district. That too is a great concern to us. Bill, you're muted.
Sorry, there's just one more question I'd like to address, and then I think we've responded pretty much to all the questions for this evening. Victor, there's a question about basically in light of COVID, how much stress has that put on our budget? Just briefly, if you could respond to that.
Sure, Bill. Obviously, additional staff members were added in order to reduce class size at the elementary schools and bring everyone in person live on a daily basis. Additional PPE was purchased, desk guards were purchased. A lot of purchases took place at the beginning of the school year. So watching that carefully, there is some stress on it, but not to the extent where we'll have an issue at the end of the year. We will not be in a position of deficit spending. So it's tighter than in prior years, and next year's budget will certainly be a challenge. But at this point, we're okay.
Thank you. Approval of minutes. Anybody else before we go to approval of minutes? Approval of minutes. Recommend action be resolved. Board of Education make any necessary corrections. Move the approval of minutes of the regular meeting dated September 17, 2020, the executive session dated October 1st, 2020. Do I have a motion? Jill, that was your hand. That's a motion. Second, Pam. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you. We've answered basically every question that's been posed to us. Again, Chris Powers has indicated that we've answered a great majority of questions. There are a number of questions. There were a couple of statements that people would like to ask me questions. I'm not sure that this is the appropriate forum for a back and forth since you can't speak. But what I will do is this: If there's anybody that would like to speak or meet with me, you can email me at my Board of Ed email address, and I'd be happy to meet with anybody who would like to come in and ask me any questions. Please send that to my Board of Ed email as opposed to my work email, which is where I got all the other community emails. And we'll figure out a way to socially distance ourselves and have the conversations that people would like to have. So thank you for that. New business. Adoption of Board Policy 7315, Student Acceptable Use Policy, first reading. Recommend a motion be resolved, the Board of Education accept the first reading of the following policy, 7315. Have a motion? Dab, do I have a second? Divya, any discussion? All in favor?
Wait, I just want to.
Oh, good.
The changes that I requested in that policy were done. I didn't see them in the updated version that was online. I just want to make sure that what we're approving has the changes.
I believe that that Rita had reported that those changes were incorporated.
That's
They were
correct.
in the document I saw, but they weren't on the one online.
I believe, I will check, Jill, but I believe they were incorporated. I spoke to Lisa who had done the update, and she found you remember you made some original suggestions some time ago.
Yeah, I resent them to her, but she showed me they were in her copy, but they weren't in the copy that was online.
I'll make sure that we have it, that we have the correct version, but we had the corrections that you made, and I thought we incorporated them.
Okay, thanks.
But I will check for you.
Okay, so all in favor? Aye. Adoption of Board Policy 7516, opioid overdose prevention, first reading. Recommend a motion be resolved, Board of Education accept the first reading of the policy 7516. Do I have a motion? Gab. Second, Pam. Any other discussion? Good. All in favor? Aye. I'll vote by a show of hands would be great. Adoption of Board Policy 8261, Internet Safety, Internet Content Filtering Policy, first reading. Recommend a motion be resolved, the Board of Education accept the first reading of that policy. There are a few slight changes as per council, so that we need to do a first reading. Do I have a motion? Pam, do I have a second? Dab, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Approval of building level emergency response plan. Recommend a motion be resolved, the Board of Education approve the building level emergency plan for each building in the Jericho School District for 2021 school year. Do I have a motion? Dab, do I have a second? Pam, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. 2021 budget prep calendar for the 21-22 school year and the 2021 annual election calendar for the May 18, 2021 vote. Recommended action be resolved, the Board of Education approve the attached 2021 budget prep calendar for the 2020 calendar for the May 18th election vote. Do I have a motion? Somebody raised their hand. Pam, do I have a second? Jill, any discussion? We know that the budget is a fluid situation with COVID and we're back to full learning or we're still a hybrid. You know, those are really uncertainties. So we know there's some flexibility on the budget prep calendar that we'll have to consider at the time. But for now, it's important for us to put forth a plan and a calendar. So all in favor? Aye. State Environmental SECRA, State Environmental Quality Review Act, whereas the Board of Education, Jericho Union Free School District is considering improvements at the Jericho Union Free School District located at 99 Cedar Swamp Road, including proposed projects for the technology classroom reconstruction in the middle school, high school, and upgrades to the existing gas service in middle school, high school. And whereas pursuant to 6 NYCRR 617, the maintenance or repair involving no substantial change in existing structure, facility, replacement, rehab, or reconstruction of a structure of facility in kind on the same site, including upgrading buildings to meet officer fire codes, are type 2 actions. Therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Education, after review of the proposal and the opinion provided by John Grillo, our architect, hereby determines the proposed projects are in fact type 2 actions. Regulation of the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and will therefore by definition have no significant adverse impact on the environment. Do I have a motion? Deb, Pam, second. Any discussion on that? Thank you for all the information provided us. All in favor? Aye. Approval of schedules A 10068 to U 10104. Do I have a motion to move all of those business schedules? Pam, that was a little nice. Dab, second. Any discussion on any of those at this point? All in favor? Aye, motion carries. We have a motion to adjourn. All right, all in favor? There was a motion, there was a second by motion by Jill, second by Dab. All in favor? Thank everybody for being here tonight. We know the meeting ran long. We appreciate your patience. We still have 145 people in the room. We appreciate your input. We appreciate your questions. The questions that we didn't get to that might have come in at the end of the night, we'll be happy to answer after the meeting. Wishing everybody a great night and a continued safe new school year.